Something of note happened the past 2 nights on Fox, perhaps not that unusual considering what we just saw in Tom's report, but it began when Senator Ted Cruz described the events of January 6th from the site of the infamous day.
We are approaching a solemn anniversary this week, and it is an anniversary of a violent terrorist attack on the Capitol, where we saw the men and women of law enforcement demonstrate incredible courage, incredible bravery, risk their lives to defend the men and women who serve in this Capitol.
Straightforward, nothing crazy about that comment. Ted Cruz just saying what is. And yet no way was Fox's chief propagandist going to let it stand.
Of all the things that January 6th was, it was definitely not a violent terrorist attack. It wasn't an insurrection. Was it a riot? Sure. It was not a violent terrorist attack. Sorry. So why are you telling us that it was, Ted Cruz? And why are none of your Republican friends who are supposed to be representing us and all the people who've been arrested during this purge saying anything? What the hell's going on here?
Tucker Carlson mad that an elected official won't peddle the lies that he does. So last night, he had Cruz on, not so that Cruz could enlighten him to reality, but so that the two of them could go night swimming in Tucker's cesspool of BS, and Cruz could self-flagellate before millions.
You called this a terror attack when by no definition was it a terror attack. That's a lie. You told that lie on purpose, and I'm wondering why you did.
Well, Tucker, thank you for having me on. When you aired your episode last night, I sent you a text shortly thereafter and said, listen, I'd like to go on because the way I phrased things yesterday, it was sloppy and it was frankly dumb. And
I don't buy that.
Whoa,
whoa. I don't buy that. Look, I've known you a long time, since before you went to the Senate. You were a Supreme Court contender. You take words as seriously as any man who's ever served in the Senate. And every word, you repeated that phrase. I do not believe that you used that accidentally. I just don't.
So, Tucker, as a result of my sloppy phrasing, it's caused a lot of people to misunderstand what I meant.
Well, we will get to the groveling in a moment, but first, Cruz's claim that his words were spontaneous and sloppy. Actually, they were accurate, but perhaps more importantly here, consistent with what he said right after the attack. A year ago, as he was misreading the degree to which his party was committed to Trump, he said, quote, "The attack at the Capitol was a despicable act of terrorism and shocking assault on our democratic system. The Department of Justice should vigorously prosecute anyone who was involved in these brazen acts of violence." And yet last night, Cruz rushed to the misinformation mothership faster than he fled to Cancun during a deadly deep freeze in his state, to bend the knee before Tucker Carlson, even though the Fox host isn't a serious or even believable person. We know that. Cruz knows that. Carlson himself knows that, or at least the lawyers who represented him in court do. They defended him successfully, mind you, in a slander case in 2020. The judge, a Trump appointee, recapping their case, quote, "Fox persuasively argues that given Mr. Carlson's reputation, any reasonable viewer, quote, arrives with an appropriate amount of skepticism about the statement he makes." The Fox lawyers had again successfully argued that the, quote, "general tenor of the show should then inform a viewer that Carlson is not stating actual facts about the topics he discusses and is instead engaging in exaggeration and non-literal commentary." Official verdict. He's full of it. He's just one of right-wing cable's most elite, professionally aggrieved bullshit artists. The problem is that Carl's viewers actually believe him. Carlson's viewers actually believe him. They're not in on the joke. They're not in on the joke that Tucker Carlson is in on, that he is a joke. Elsewhere on Fox Entertainment Television, they didn't like how Vice President Kamala Harris said that January 6th will be added to the list of dates in American history that will live in infamy.
They're trying to turn it into Pearl Harbor. They're trying to turn it into 9/11.
When I heard Kamala Harris first compare January 6th to 9/11 and Pearl Harbor, it's ridiculous. It's an abomination.
Absurd and ridiculous to compare January 6th to either of those days.
The most disgusting part of the day was what you referenced in your monologue, where the Vice President of the United States says January 6th was the equivalent to Pearl Harbor.
What a goofball.
Because after all, these are hosts with deep knowledge of days that will live in infamy.
gentle stars.
Take that, arsonists. We are live here at Fox Square. Yesterday, a cowardly Christmas creep burned down our all-American Christmas tree.
We knew that we couldn't let it stop us. We knew that we wouldn't be deterred.
We now want to welcome our first guest of the evening, Fox News contributor Reverend Jacques Dugraff.
80 years ago this week, they tried to extinguish the darkness at a place called Pearl Harbor.
Oh, yeah, you heard that right. Let's play that one more time.
80 years ago this week, they tried to extinguish the darkness at a place called Pearl Harbor.
When it comes to hypocrites, there's always tape.
Can I just say one more thing about Ted
Sure.
Cruz there? It's like 7:28 a.m. You know, Ted Cruz, do you know where your spine is? I thought he handled it better in Game of Thrones when he was Theon Greyjoy to Ramsay Bolton there. Oof. Honestly, that was like Reek. It was like watching Reek in Game of Thrones there, how he was addressing him. The power structure there.
Reek?
Oh, I was so uncomfortable. I was so uncomfortable watching that.
That is such an apt metaphor.
Yeah, well, you know, if the shoe fits or the codpiece fits.
I don't know. I think that, you know, Tucker Carlson will be picking his teeth this morning with Ted Cruz's spine, is sort of what I think.